The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched wide like an ocean of stars. Thousands of seats rose in perfect circles around a central platform where speakers stood. Today, beings from across the galaxy had come to watch something that had never happened before. They were about to tell the humans to surrender. Ambassador Kim Do-hyun sat in the human section, his hands folded calmly in his lap. He wore a simple black suit that looked plain next to the bright robes and strange armor of the other species. His face showed nothing as he watched the Valkyrie Prime Speaker rise from her throne. The Valkyrie were old. So old that some said they remembered when stars were young. Prime Speaker Veltara moved like flowing water, her blue skin shining under the council lights. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of 1,000,000 years. "We gather today to address a growing threat to galactic peace," she began. Her words echoed through the hall, translated into hundreds of languages. "For 50 years we welcomed the humans with open arms. We shared our knowledge. We helped them build colonies among the stars." Kim Do-hyun listened without moving. Around him, other human diplomats sat just as still. They had practiced this moment many times. "But now," Veltara continued, "we see what the humans truly are. They spread too fast. They build too many ships. They ask too many questions about things that should remain secret." The Krillian representative stood up, his forearms spreading wide. "The humans have colonies on 47 worlds now," he said in his clicking voice. "Each colony has ships, weapons. They say it is for protection, but protection from what?" More voices joined in. The Xanthari spoke of human traders who went to places they should not go. The Morphic Union complained that humans studied alien technology too closely. The Hegemony said human questions made their younger species ask dangerous questions too. Kim Do-hyun had heard it all before. Earth's intelligence network was better than any alien species knew. They had been listening to these complaints for months. Every secret meeting, every private message, every whispered conversation in dark corners of space stations. Humans heard it all. "The evidence is clear," said Veltara, her voice growing cold. "Humans are a threat to the order we have built over 10,000 years. They do not follow the rules. They do not accept their place. They are too curious, too aggressive, too unpredictable." The word unpredictable hung in the air like a curse. In the galaxy, being unpredictable was the worst crime. The Council liked order. They liked knowing what would happen next. They had spent thousands of years making sure every species knew its place. "Therefore," Veltara announced, "the Galactic Council has decided. Humanity must surrender all military ships to Council control. All human colonies must accept Council governors. All human research must be monitored by Council scientists. This is not punishment. This is protection." The hall buzzed with whispers and strange sounds as different species talked among themselves. Some seemed happy. Others looked worried. The humans remained silent. Kim Do-hyun stood slowly. The hall grew quiet as all eyes turned to him. He was not tall compared to many of the alien species, but something about the way he stood made him seem larger. "How long do we have to consider this?" "Generous offer?" he asked. His voice was calm, almost friendly. 30 standard galactic days," replied Veltara. "Surely enough time to see the wisdom in our decision." "And if we refuse?" The Prime Speaker's eyes grew darker. "Then the Council will take corrective action. For the good of all." Kim Do-hyun nodded as if he understood. "I see. And this corrective action would involve the fleet of 10,000 ships you have been gathering at the Zirian Nebula." A shocked silence fell over the hall. Several alien representatives looked surprised. Some looked angry. Veltara's face showed nothing, but her hands tightened on her throne. "You seem very well informed." "Ambassador," she said slowly, "we try to stay aware of galactic events," Kim Do-hyun replied with a small smile. "After all, knowledge is important for making good decisions." "Indeed it is." Veltara leaned forward. "Then you know that resistance would be unwise. Your species is young. You have perhaps 500 ships total. We have gathered forces from 13 species. The mathematics are simple." Kim Do-hyun was quiet for a long moment. Around the hall, thousands of alien eyes watched him. Some expected him to beg. Others thought he would argue. A few hoped he would accept with dignity. Instead, something strange happened. Kim Do-hyun's mouth curved upward at the corners. Not a happy smile, but something else. Something that made several nearby aliens move back in their seats. "You are right about the mathematics," he said. "They are very simple. Thank you for the 30 days, Prime Speaker. We will give you our answer then." He bowed slightly the way humans did when showing respect. But as he straightened up, that strange smile was still there. Cold, knowing, like someone who had just been told a joke that only they understood. "Is there anything else you wish to say?" asked Veltara. Kim Do-hyun looked around the great hall one more time. At the thousands of aliens who thought they were about to see humanity kneel. At the ancient species who believed they controlled the galaxy. At the representatives who had never seen a human truly angry. "Just one thing," he said quietly. But in the perfect acoustics of the hall, everyone heard him clearly. "You should have asked nicely." The human delegation left the hall in perfect order, their footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. Behind them, thousands of aliens began to whisper among themselves. Some laughed at human arrogance. Others felt a chill they could not explain. None of them noticed the small device Kim Do-hyun had left under his seat. It looked like a simple data pad dropped by accident, but it was not an accident, and it was not just a data pad. Deep in space, hidden human listening posts picked up the signal. The message was simple, just a few words in a code that only humans knew. "The Council has shown their hand. Begin protocol defiance." Across 47 star systems, other humans received the signal. In colonies that looked peaceful, weapon systems came online. In ships that seemed to carry only trade goods, battle computers activated. In research stations that studied alien plants, scientists began the final preparations for war. The Galactic Council had demanded Earth's surrender, but they had made one small mistake. They had given humanity 30 days to think about it. That was 29 days too many. The elevator dropped 3 miles into the Earth. President Yoon Ji-woo felt her ears pop as they descended into the mountain. Beside her, General Han Woo-jin checked his watch. The emergency meeting would start in 10 minutes. "How many know about today's ultimatum?" she asked. "Only the people in this elevator and the ones waiting below," Han Woo-jin replied. "Plus Kim Do-hyun and his team at the council station." The elevator stopped with a soft sound. The doors opened to show a long tunnel cut from solid rock. Guards in black uniforms stood at attention as they passed. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were part of something that officially did not exist. The command center lay behind doors that could stop a nuclear blast. Inside, holographic displays showed star maps covering half the galaxy. Admiral Lee Taemin stood at the central table, his gray hair neat despite having been woken at 3 in the morning. Dr. Park So-young sat at a computer station, her fingers flying over keys as data flowed across multiple screens. "Ma'am," Admiral Lee Taemin said as President Yoon Ji-woo entered. "We received Kim Do-hyun's signal 20 minutes ago." "Good, is everyone here?" She looked around the room. The most important people in humanity's secret government stood waiting. People whose names appeared on no public lists. People who had spent 50 years preparing for this exact moment. "Dr. Choi Min-ho is connecting from Titan Station," said General Han Woo-jin. "He'll join us by secure link." A wall screen flickered to life. Dr. Choi Min-ho appeared, floating in the low gravity of Titan. Behind him, through a window, they could see the massive construction yards where humanity's hidden fleet was built. "Mr. President," he said with a slight bow, "the Prometheus fleet is ready." President Yoon Ji-woo walked to the central table. The holographic star map showed the Milky Way galaxy in beautiful detail. Blue dots marked human colonies. Red dots showed alien fleets. Yellow lines traced trade routes and communication networks. "Tell me exactly what the council said," she ordered. Admiral Lee Taemin touched the table. Kim Do-hyun's voice filled the room, playing back his recorded conversation with Prime Speaker Veltara. Every word, every threat, every promise of corrective action if humanity refused to surrender. When the recording ended, the room was quiet. Dr. Park So-young stopped typing. General Han Woo-jin clenched his fist. Even Dr. Choi Min-ho, floating in space 3 billion miles away, said nothing. President Yoon Ji-woo smiled. It was not a happy smile. 30 days, she said. They gave us 30 days to surrender everything we've built. Everything we've worked for. Everything we are. She touched the table and the star map changed. Now it showed not just human colonies, but human ships. Not the 500 ships the aliens knew about, but the real number. The hidden number. The number that would make alien leaders lose sleep for the rest of their lives. Dr. Park So-young, the president said. Status report on reverse engineering projects. Dr. Park So-young stood up. She had been working on alien technology since she was 20 years old. Now at 55, she knew more about how alien ships worked than most aliens did. "Complete success on all fronts, ma'am," she said. "We've not only copied every piece of alien technology we've encountered, we've improved on it. Our ships are faster, stronger, and smarter than anything in the galaxy." "Define improved," said President Yoon Ji-woo. "Our newest fighters can outrun Velkari interceptors by 40%. Our shields can stop weapons that would cut through alien hulls like paper. Our computers can calculate battle plans faster than entire alien fleet commands." General Han Woo-jin stepped forward. "Ma'am, we've also completed psychological profiles on all 13 species in the Council. We know how they think, how they fight, and most importantly, how they break." The President nodded. She had read those reports. Humans were not the only species the Council had threatened over the years, but humans were the first species that had been listening, learning, and preparing for 50 years. "Admiral Lee Tae-min," she said. "Fleet status." "All ships are in position and ready," he replied. "The aliens think our trade convoys are carrying food and supplies to our colonies. They have no idea those trade ships are actually our most advanced warships." Dr. Choi Min-ho's voice came from the wall screen. "Ma'am, the manufacturing platforms around Saturn have been producing war materials for 20 years. We've built enough weapons to outfit a fleet 10 times larger than what the aliens expect us to have." President Yoon Ji-woo walked around the table. Each step was careful, measured. She had once been a general herself, before becoming a politician. She knew how to plan a war. "Show me the Phantom Network," she said. The star map changed again. Now it showed something that would terrify alien leaders if they knew it existed. Thousands of tiny dots connected by thin lines. Each dot was a human agent, a listening post, or a hidden weapon platform. The network covered the entire galaxy. "We've been placing assets for 50 years, said General Han Woo-jin. "Every major alien world has at least a dozen human agents. Every important trade route has monitoring stations. Every alien fleet base has observers." "Including their homeworlds?" asked the President. "Especially their homeworlds," Admiral Lee Tae-min replied. "The Council thinks they're watching us. They have no idea we've been watching them." Dr. Park So-young pulled up another display. "Ma'am, we've also been testing something special. Project Mirror." The display showed what looked like a simple space rock floating near an alien patrol, but as they watched, the rock suddenly changed. In seconds, it became a sleek human warship, weapons powered and ready to fire. "Holographic camouflage," Dr. Park So-young explained. "We can make our ships look like anything. Asteroids, debris, even alien vessels. Half our fleet could be sitting next to alien bases right now and they would never know." President Yoon Ji-woo stopped walking. She stood in front of the main display, looking at the red dots that marked alien fleets. 10,000 ships gathered from 13 species all ready to force humanity to kneel. "They think we're afraid," she said quietly. "They think we'll see their big fleet and surrender without a fight. Will we?" asked Dr. Choi Min-ho from the screen. President Yoon Ji-woo turned to face her advisors. These people had worked in secret for decades. They had built weapons in the dark spaces between stars. They had created a military force that existed only in shadows and whispers. "General Han Woo-jin," she said, "how long until the Prometheus fleet is fully operational?" "It already is, ma'am. We've been ready for 3 years." "Admiral Lee Tae-min, how long to position our forces for maximum effect?" "We're already in position. We have been since the Council started gathering their fleet." "Dr. Park So-young, how long to activate all our hidden systems?" The signal went out when Kim Do-hyun left the Council chamber. "Everything is online now." President Yoon Ji-woo looked at each of them in turn. Then she smiled. This time it was not a politician's smile. It was the smile of a predator that had been hiding in tall grass, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "Then let's give the Galactic Council an answer they'll never forget," she said. "General Han Woo-jin, activate Protocol Defiance. Full implementation." "Yes, ma'am." General Han Woo-jin pressed a series of keys on his console. Across the galaxy, signals reached hidden human assets. Ships dropped their disguises. Weapons platforms came online. Agents prepared for orders. The Galactic Council had demanded Earth's surrender. They had given humanity 30 days to think about it. They were about to learn that 30 days was plenty of time for humans to prepare a very different kind of answer. Captain Jang Hee-rin floated in zero gravity, watching her target through the cockpit window. The Velkari battle station looked like a metal flower blooming in space. Its 6 arms stretched outward, each one holding enough weapons to destroy a small moon. "Distance to target?" she whispered into her headset. 2 kilometers, replied Bae Sung-ho from the pilot's seat. "Still no sign they've detected us." The Silent Thunder was humanity's most advanced stealth ship. From the outside, it looked like a piece of space junk: broken metal, scorched paint, flickering lights that suggested failing systems. But inside, it contained technology that could make alien engineers weep with envy. "Take us to position 7, Jang Hye-rin ordered, nice and slow. They drifted toward the Velkari station like a dead ship pulled by gravity. The station's sensors swept over them dozens of times but saw only what the humans wanted them to see: a broken freighter that had been drifting for months. "Ma'am," said tech specialist Lee Sun-ki from the back of the ship, "I'm reading 17 Velkari warships docked at the station, plus maybe 300 smaller craft." Jang Hye-rin nodded. The intelligence reports had been correct. This was one of the Council's main staging areas for their fleet. Ships came here for supplies and repairs before heading to the gathering point at Zerion Nebula. "Seung-ho, deploy the package," she said. Bae Sung-ho touched a control panel. From the Silent Thunder's cargo bay, something small and dark drifted toward the station. It looked like a piece of debris, maybe a broken engine part. The station's sensors saw it and ignored it, just as they were supposed to. But the device was not debris. It was a maintenance drone designed to look like junk while it performed a very important job. As it approached the station, tiny thrusters adjusted its path. It found a docking tube on the station's lower arm and attached itself with magnetic clamps. "Package deployed," said Bae Sung-ho, beginning integration. On Lee Sun-ki's screen, data flowed as the drone connected to the station's systems. It identified itself as a standard repair unit, uploaded false maintenance records, and requested permission to perform routine cleaning duties. The station's computer approved the request without question. "We're in," said Lee Sun-ki with satisfaction. "The drone is now part of the station's maintenance network." Jang Hye-rin smiled. The Velkari were proud of their security, but they had never encountered human hacking techniques. The drone would spend the next few weeks performing actual maintenance work, building trust with the station's systems. When the time came, it would do much more than clean air filters. "Take us out," she ordered. "Next target is the fuel depot at Kathara." As the Silent Thunder drifted away from the station, Jang Hye-rin thought about the bigger picture. Her ship was just one of 50 performing similar missions across the galaxy. Each mission placed another piece of humanity's hidden chess game. The aliens thought they were gathering their forces in secret. They had no idea that humans had been watching every move, planning every countermove for months. 3 days later, the Silent Thunder floated near a different target. This time it was a Krillian supply convoy carrying fuel for the Council fleet. 20 massive tanker ships moved through space in perfect formation, protected by 8 warships. "Convoy Alpha 7, said Lee Sun-ki, reading from his instruments. "Carrying enough fuel for about 500 ships." "Perfect," said Jang Hye-rin. "Seung-ho, how many packages do we have left?" 12 maintenance drones, 6 communication relays, and 2 special surprises, Bae Sung-ho replied. The special surprises were humanity's newest invention. They looked like ordinary metal containers, the kind used to ship spare parts all over the galaxy. But inside each container was a device that could disrupt alien ship systems from a distance. "Deploy 1 surprise package," Jang Hye-rin ordered. "Make it look like it fell off one of the tankers." The package drifted into space, tumbling slowly as if it had been accidentally lost. The Krillian ships saw it on their sensors but ignored it. Space was full of floating junk after all. But this junk contained a quantum transmitter that would let human forces track the convoy anywhere it went. More importantly, it carried a computer virus designed specifically for Krillian systems. When activated, it would make their ships think they were under attack by their own escorts. "Package away," said Bae Sung-ho. "Shall we follow them to the rendezvous point?" "Negative," Jang Hye-rin replied. "We have more important work to do." She pulled up the mission list on her personal screen. 18 more targets in the next 10 days. Supply convoys, communication relays, weapon factories, and fleet bases. Each one would receive a small gift from humanity. By the time the Council realized what was happening, it would be far too late. Meanwhile, in a hidden facility on Earth's moon, Dr. Lim Soo-jin was making discoveries that would change the course of the coming war. She had spent 20 years studying alien biology, learning how different species evolved on different worlds. Fascinating, she said, looking at data from her latest experiment. The Velkari nervous system is incredibly sensitive to specific electromagnetic frequencies. Her assistant, Dr. Yang Hoon-sik, looked up from his own work. Sensitive how? Exposed to the right frequency, they would experience something like a massive headache, possibly unconsciousness. Their entire species has this weakness because they evolved under a star that produces very stable electromagnetic radiation. Dr. Lim Soo-jin pulled up more files. The Krillians have a similar problem with certain sound frequencies. And the Zenthari, their cybernetic implants can be disrupted by quantum static. You're talking about using biological warfare, said Dr. Yang Hoon-sik quietly. No, Dr. Lim Soo-jin replied. I'm talking about using knowledge. Every species in the galaxy has evolved to survive in their home environment. But that evolution also creates weaknesses. We can use those weaknesses to end fights without killing anyone. She had spent months cataloging these weaknesses, not to hurt alien species but to find ways to stop them without causing permanent damage. Humans had learned that dead enemies sometimes had friends who wanted revenge. Unconscious enemies were much easier to deal with. Send this data to Admiral Lee Tae-min, she ordered. Market Priority 1, across the solar system, on a research station hidden in the asteroid belt. Other scientists were preparing different surprises. For the Council fleet, Dr. Kim Bo-ram had developed new types of computer viruses that could spread from ship to ship through standard communication channels. Dr. Park Jin-woo had created devices that could jam alien weapons while leaving human systems untouched. But the most important work was happening on Titan, where Dr. Choi Min-ho oversaw the final preparations of the Prometheus fleet. Status report, he said, floating in the command center of the construction facility. All ships are ready for deployment, reported Chief Engineer Nam Yeon-soo. The new stealth systems are working perfectly. We can make our entire fleet invisible to alien sensors. Dr. Choi Min-ho looked out at the construction yards through the transparent aluminum windows. Hundreds of human warships floated in perfect rows, their hulls gleaming under Saturn's pale light. They looked like ordinary military vessels, but each one contained technology that was decades ahead of anything the aliens possessed. Begin final pre-deployment checks, he ordered. In 15 days, these ships will reveal themselves to the galaxy. I want everything perfect. Yes, sir, said Nam Yeon-soo. Sir, may I ask, do you think the aliens will actually attack us? Dr. Choi Min-ho was quiet for a moment. He had read the intelligence reports. He knew what the Council had planned for humanity. Surrender or destruction, no other choices. Yes, he said finally. They will attack. They think they have no choice, but they're about to learn something important about humans. What's that, sir? When humans have no choice, Dr. Choi Min-ho said with a cold smile, we make our own choices. 20 days had passed since the Council's ultimatum. 10 days remained until humanity's deadline. Across the galaxy, human agents continued their work. Maintenance drones attached themselves to alien ships. Communication relays were placed near important alien bases. Supply convoys received unwanted passengers in the form of hidden tracking devices. The Council's fleet continued to grow at Xerion Nebula, 10,000 ships from 13 species, all preparing to force humanity to surrender. The alien commanders felt confident. Their force was overwhelming. Victory was certain. They had no idea that humanity had spent 50 years preparing for this exact moment. They did not know about the hidden fleet waiting near Saturn. They could not imagine the computer viruses and signal jammers and electromagnetic weapons that would soon turn their own ships against them. Most importantly, they did not understand what humans became when they were threatened with extinction. The Council was about to learn that threatening humanity was the last mistake they would ever make. The 30 days were over. Ambassador Kim Do-hyun stood in the same great hall where the Council had delivered their ultimatum 1 month ago. This time, however, something was different. The air felt heavy with expectation. Alien representatives whispered among themselves, expecting to see humanity finally bow before superior force. Prime Speaker Veltara sat on her throne, her blue skin glowing with satisfaction. Around her, the leaders of 12 other species waited to witness humanity's surrender. They had spent the month watching human colonies through long-range sensors. Everything appeared normal. No massive military buildup, no panic. No desperate preparations for war. The humans seemed to be accepting their fate quietly. Ambassador Kim Do-hyun, said Veltara, her voice echoing through the hall. 30 days have passed. The council awaits humanity's answer. Kim Do-hyun walked to the center platform with slow, measured steps. He wore the same simple black suit as before. His hands were empty. He carried no documents, no surrender agreement, no white flag of defeat. Instead, he carried the same cold smile he had worn 30 days ago. The Galactic Council demanded Earth's surrender, he said, his voice carrying clearly through the hall. Humanity has considered your generous offer very carefully. He paused, looking around at the thousands of alien faces watching him. Some showed smugness, others displayed boredom. A few looked almost sorry for what was about to happen to the human species. Our answer, Kim Do-hyun continued, is no. The hall erupted in shocked whispers and alien sounds of surprise. Several representatives stood up from their seats. The Krillian delegates' forearms spread wide in a gesture of disbelief. Furthermore, Kim Do-hyun said, raising his voice to cut through the noise, humanity presents a counter-ultimatum to this council. Now the hall fell completely silent. Veltara leaned forward on her throne, her ancient eyes narrow with anger. You dare make demands? She hissed. You whose entire species can barely field 500 ships? Kim Do-hyun's smile grew wider. Prime Speaker, with respect, your intelligence about human capabilities is somewhat outdated. He touched a small device on his wrist. Immediately, every holographic display in the council hall flickered and changed. Instead of showing the normal council information, they now displayed real-time images from across the galaxy. The first image showed the Velkari battle station that Captain Jang Hee-rin had visited. But now, instead of being surrounded by empty space, the station was surrounded by human warships. Dozens of them. Their sleek hulls gleaming with weapons that had never appeared on any alien sensor. The Zirian staging area, Kim Do-hyun announced calmly. The display changed to show the massive alien fleet gathered at Zirion Nebula. 10,000 ships from 13 species, the largest war fleet in galactic history. But among them, scattered throughout the formation, were shapes that made alien commanders reach for their communication devices in panic. Human ships. Hundreds of them, ships that had been hiding in plain sight for weeks disguised as space debris and asteroids. How is this possible? Demanded the hegemony representative, his voice the electronic buzz of confusion. Simple, Kim Do-hyun replied. Humans are very good at being where you don't expect us. The displays continued to change, showing scene after scene of impossible human presence. Human ships near alien homeworlds, human stations in supposedly empty space, human agents walking openly in alien cities that were supposed to be completely secure. But the most shocking image came last. The display showed Earth's solar system, but not as the aliens expected to see it. Instead of a small defensive fleet around one primitive world, the system was filled with ships, thousands of them, ships of designs the aliens had never seen, carrying weapons they had never imagined. May I present the Prometheus fleet, said Kim Do-hyun, our actual military force. Prime Speaker Veltara stood up from her throne, her composure finally cracking. This is impossible. Our sensors would have detected such a massive fleet. Your sensors detected exactly what we wanted them to detect, Kim Do-hyun replied. For 50 years we have been students in your galactic classroom. We learned about your technology, your tactics, your psychology. Most importantly, we learned about your weaknesses. Admiral Lee Taemin's voice suddenly filled the hall, transmitted from his flagship somewhere in deep space. Council representatives, this is Admiral Lee Taemin of the Human Defense Force. You are surrounded. On the displays, the view changed to show the space around the council station itself. What had appeared to be empty space was suddenly filled with human ships, their stealth systems deactivating in perfect synchronization. Massive warships appeared like ghosts becoming solid, their weapons already aimed at the station's vital systems. You have been under our protection for the past 72 hours, Admiral Lee Taemin continued. Any aggressive action against this station would have been prevented. Veltara's blue skin had turned pale. Around the hall, alien representatives were shouting into their communication devices trying to contact their home fleets, but their messages were not getting through. Oh, I should mention, said Kim Do-hyun casually, Your communications are currently being filtered through our systems. We wouldn't want any unfortunate misunderstandings to start a war before we finish our conversation. Bai Sung-ho's hacking skills had proven even better than expected. Every alien communication network in the galaxy was now under human control. The Council could send messages, but only the messages that humans wanted them to send. "This is an act of war," shouted the Morphic Union representative. "No," said a new voice. President Yoon Ji-woo appeared on the main display, speaking from her office deep inside Earth. "This is an act of prevention." She looked directly at Prime Speaker Veltara as she continued. "For 50 years we have watched the Galactic Council operate. We have seen what happens to species that displease you, the Zeltharians, reduced to a client state after they developed faster-than-light communication, the Vorthon Republic, dismantled because they asked too many questions about Council history, 17 other civilizations either destroyed or enslaved because they didn't fit your idea of galactic order." The hall grew deathly quiet. These were the Council's deepest secrets, crimes hidden for thousands of years. "How do you know about?" Veltara began. "We know everything," President Yoon Ji-woo interrupted. "Every classified document, every secret meeting, every order to eliminate troublesome species. Dr. Park So-young, please share the evidence." The displays changed again, showing document after document of Council crimes. Orders to sabotage alien governments, plans to steal technology from developing species, records of deliberate genocide disguised as natural disasters. "This is impossible," whispered the Xanthari delegate. "These files are stored in quantum encrypted systems." "Yes," said Dr. Park So-young's voice from the speakers. "We've had access to your quantum encryption for 20 years. It was surprisingly easy to break once we understood how your computers think." Prime Speaker Veltara raised her arms, trying to restore order to the chaos erupting around her. "Even if these accusations were true," she said desperately, "you cannot stand against the combined might of 13 species. Our fleet at Zarian outnumbers you 10 to 1. Kim Do-hyun consulted his wrist device as if checking the time. "Actually, that fleet is currently experiencing some technical difficulties." The main display showed the alien fleet at Zarian Nebula. But something was very wrong. Ships were drifting out of formation. Some were firing on their own escorts. Others were sending out distress calls in languages their crews didn't speak. Dr. Lim Soo-jin's research into alien biology proved very useful, Kim Do-hyun explained. "Combined with some creative computer programming, we've managed to make your ships rather unreliable. Across the galaxy, the maintenance drones and signal jammers and computer viruses that humans had been placing for weeks were all activating at once. Alien ships found their systems corrupted, their weapons offline, their communications scrambled, but humans had not come to destroy. They had come to prove a point. The technical difficulties are temporary," President Yoon Ji-woo announced. "Your crews are unharmed. Your ships will be fully functional again once we finish our conversation." She leaned forward, looking directly at the Council leadership. "Here is humanity's counter-ultimatum. The Galactic Council as it currently exists will be dissolved. A new galactic government will be formed with fair representation for all species, including those you have oppressed. All records of Council crimes will be made public. And most importantly, no species will ever again be threatened with extinction for refusing to surrender their freedom." "And if we refuse?" Veltara asked weakly. Kim Do-hyun's cold smile returned. "Then we will take corrective action. For the good of all." The threat hung in the air like a blade. Around the hall, alien representatives realized that their greatest fears had come true. The humans were not just another species to be controlled. They were something new, something dangerous, something that could not be stopped by traditional force. "You have 24 hours to decide," President Yoon Ji-woo concluded. "Choose wisely." The human delegation walked out of the hall, leaving behind a galaxy that would never be the same. 6 hours. That was how long it took for the first alien government to surrender. The Xanthari were practical beings. Their cybernetic implants had been completely scrambled by human quantum interference, leaving their entire species temporarily deaf and blind to electronic signals. Rather than suffer in helpless silence, they chose to negotiate. "The Xanthari Republic formally requests terms for peaceful transition," announced their delegate, his artificial voice crackling with static. "We acknowledge human technological superiority." Ambassador Kim Do-hyun sat in the same chair where he had received the Council's ultimatum 7 days earlier. But now the roles were reversed. Instead of alien leaders making demands, they were asking for mercy. Your request is noted. Kim Do-hyun replied calmly. President Yoon Ji-woo will address terms for all council species simultaneously. Please be patient. 12 more hours passed before the second surrender came. The Morphic Union, whose shape-shifting abilities made them the galaxy's greatest spies, found themselves unable to change form. Human scientists had discovered the frequency that controlled their cellular structure and simply turned it off. This is most uncomfortable, admitted their representative, stuck in an awkward, half-melted state. The Union wishes to discuss new arrangements. By the end of the first day, 8 of the 13 council species had requested negotiations. Only the ancient Velkari and their 4 closest allies continued to resist. Prime Speaker Veltara stood alone on the council platform, her blue skin pale with rage and fear. Around her, empty seats marked where her former allies had been. The great hall that had once held thousands now echoed with the footsteps of just a few dozen beings. You cannot do this, she said to Kim Do-hyun. The council has maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years. You maintained galactic control, Kim Do-hyun corrected. There is a difference. Admiral Lee Tae-min's voice came through the speakers, calm and professional. Prime Speaker, your remaining fleet at Zarian has been completely disabled. Your homeworld defense force has been similarly affected. You have no military options left. What do humans want? Veltara asked desperately. Do you seek to rule the galaxy yourselves? Kim Do-hyun stood up from his chair. Behind him, holographic displays showed human ships throughout the galaxy, all of them holding position but not advancing. They could have struck at any moment, but they waited. Humans want something you never offered, he said quietly. We want choice. The main display activated, showing President Yoon Ji-woo sitting at her desk on Earth. But she was not alone. Behind her stood representatives from dozens of species that the Council had oppressed over the centuries. Beings whose governments had been destroyed, whose worlds had been occupied, whose children had been taken as slaves. The Galactic Council ends today, President Yoon Ji-woo announced. In its place, we propose the Galactic Cooperation Assembly. Every species will have a voice. Every world will have protection. And no one will ever again face extinction for refusing to surrender their freedom. She gestured to the beings behind her. These representatives speak for 47 species that the Council destroyed or enslaved. They will help write the new laws. They will help build the new government. And they will help ensure that what happened to them never happens to anyone else. Prime Speaker Veltara sank into her throne, her ancient pride finally broken. And what of the Velkari? What of the species that served the Council faithfully? You will be treated fairly, President Yoon Ji-woo replied. Your people will not be punished for the crimes of your leaders. Your worlds will not be occupied. Your culture will not be destroyed. But your power to oppress others ends now. Dr. Park So-young appeared on a smaller display. We have already begun dismantling your control systems. Every species will regain access to their own communication networks, their own defensive weapons, their own right to explore and expand. The technology you used to keep them weak is being returned to them. This is madness, Veltara whispered. Without central control, there will be chaos. Wars between species, competition for resources. The galaxy will tear itself apart. Maybe, Kim Do-hyun admitted. But that will be their choice to make. And if they choose badly, we will be here to help them choose better. Captain Jang Hiren's voice joined the conversation from her ship near the Velkari homeworld. Prime Speaker, human fleets are now stationed throughout the galaxy, not as conquerors but as peacekeepers. We will prevent wars, stop genocides, and protect the weak from the strong. This is what we do. Why? Veltara asked, her voice breaking. Why do you care what happens to other species? President Yoon Ji-woo was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice carried the weight of human history. Because we know what it feels like to be afraid, she said. We know what it means to be threatened with extinction, and we know that no one should have to face that fear alone. She stood up, looking directly at the broken alien leader. The Council gave us 30 days to surrender everything we valued. Instead, we used those 30 days to build something better. A galaxy where species cooperate instead of dominate, where the strong protect the weak instead of enslaving them, where everyone has a choice. 3 days later, the last of the Council species formally surrendered. The hegemony's computers had been so thoroughly corrupted that their entire civilization was running on backup systems from their Stone Age. They begged for human technical assistance to restore basic functions. "We will help you," Dr. Choi Min-ho assured them from Titan Station. "But the price is simple. No more conquest. No more oppression. No more using technology to control others." The transition took 6 months. Human administrators worked with local governments to establish new trade agreements, new defense treaties, and new laws based on cooperation rather than domination. The process was not always smooth. Some species tried to resume old conflicts. Others attempted to exploit their newfound freedom to attack weaker neighbors. Each time, human peacekeepers intervened. Not with overwhelming force, but with precise action that ended conflicts quickly and cleanly. Dr. Lim Soo-jin's research into alien weaknesses proved invaluable for stopping fights without causing permanent damage. "It's working," reported General Han Woo-jin during a staff meeting 1 year later. "Galactic trade is up 40%. Military conflicts are down 90%, and we've established first contact with 12 species that were hiding from the Council." President Yoon Ji-woo nodded, but she looked tired. Leading a galaxy was harder than leading a single planet. "Any word from the Outer Rim expeditions?" she asked. Admiral Lee Taemin, now promoted to Supreme Commander of Galactic Defense, consulted his reports. "Captain Oh Min-soo's mixed-species fleet has explored 17 new systems this month. They found 3 habitable worlds and made contact with 2 previously unknown civilizations." "Both friendly?" asked Dr. Park So-young. "Both very friendly," Admiral Lee Taemin replied with a smile. "Word is spreading that humans keep their promises. Species are starting to seek us out instead of hiding from us, but not all news was good. Long-range sensors have detected something troubling," reported Dr. Choi Min-ho from his new position as Director of Galactic Research. "There are signs of a massive fleet approaching from outside the galaxy. Something bigger than anything we've seen before." President Yoon Ji-woo felt a familiar chill. Humans had defeated the Galactic Council, but the universe was vast. There were always new threats, new challenges, new tests of human resolve. "How long until they arrive?" she asked. "Best estimate is 18 months, Dr. Choi Min-ho replied. "Maybe less if they accelerate." The room fell quiet. Around the table, the people who had engineered humanity's greatest victory began planning for their next challenge. "Well," said President Yoon Ji-woo finally, standing up from her chair, "I suppose we'd better get ready." Admiral Lee Taemin smiled, and for a moment he looked exactly like Ambassador Kim Do-hyun in the council chamber 2 years earlier. Cold, knowing, ready for whatever came next. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "let them come." 5 years after the fall of the Galactic Council, Ambassador Kim Do-hyun stood in a memorial garden on Earth. Around him, trees from 40 different worlds grew together in peaceful harmony. Each tree represented a species that had been freed from Council oppression. He was older now, his hair gray at the temples, but his eyes were still sharp, still watching for threats that might emerge from the vast darkness between stars. A young human reporter approached him, her recording device active. "Ambassador Kim, do you ever regret what humanity did? Some people say we took on too much responsibility for the galaxy." Kim Do-hyun looked up at the sky, where human and alien ships moved together in formations that would have been impossible under the old council. Patrol fleets keeping trade routes safe, exploration vessels searching for new worlds, rescue ships responding to disasters across hundreds of light years. "Do you know what the galaxy was like before?" he asked the reporter. Species lived in fear. They hid their achievements, suppressed their curiosity, and accepted whatever scraps the council gave them. "Now look around you." He gestured to the garden where beings from dozens of species worked and played together. Children of different worlds chased each other between the trees, their laughter carrying on the wind. "We didn't take on too much, Uriar,"